These are all wood projects that have been completed over the last 6 years. Some are done by hand, some are done with a CNC. Paint and epoxy were used in most of these projects. This is a vector screenshot shot just before engraving this project on a CNC. The husband wanted a plaque to commemorate their divided house. This project was engraved, then paint was applied, and then sanded to remove all of the excess paint on the surface. A top coat and fill-in paint was used to complete the project. This project was made for a friend that retired from the Army. It's made with 4x4 posts that are nailed and glued together. He was 11 Bravo infantry. Patches from all the units he was in were engraved with the CNC. The patches were then painted to the appropriate color. The surface was sanded, painted, and then stained. The skull portion was top coated with epoxy resin to give it a glowing 3D effect. I made this for someone who wanted a wall plaque commemorating his favorite team for his man cave. It was engraved with the CNC on 1/2 inch by 24 inch by 24 inch pine. The steel mark logo that represents the materials used to make steel were top coated with epoxy resin. 3 different shades of stain were also used to complete this project. This project was done for a co-worker's family reunion. It was engraved by a CNC on 1 inch by 18 inch pine. This was a very detailed and tedious project. A lot of paint and sanding. Every separate piece of the shield had epoxy resin applied. Everything on the shield represents someone in his family or everyone in the family. We bought a used table and decided to restore it as a temporary working surface. As you can see, the table legs are in pretty poor shape. The legs are dragon's claws gripping spears. Rather than using filler to reshape the dragon's claws to their original form, decided to sand them down. Matte black chalk paint was used for the base and legs of the table. The spears on the legs are painted silver. The base was stained using dark walnut. The matte black chalk paint was then applied on top of the stain. The base was then distressed using sandpaper so the stain would show through the black. A coat of dark antique wax was applied to the top of the table. Then 3 coats of clear wax finish was applied to complete the project. This small coffee table was made using shiplap from a bathroom renovation that we had just completed. The running deer in the center of the coffee table was done using a hand router and then filled with epoxy resin. This plaque is a West Point unit patch. This was completely done by hand. The centerpieces were cut out, then elevated, and then reattached. The diagonal stripe and the outline was done with a wood burning iron. The elevated centerpiece was stained along with the rest of the plaque. To complete the project, the entire plaque was flood coated with epoxy resin. This project represents fire supporters, or FIST, in support of U.S. Army Field Artillery. It's made with 8 4x4 posts that are screwed together and glued. The top is planed flat. It barely fit the top of the CNC table, but I was able to get the entire thing engraved. Paint was applied and then the excess was sanded. Once all the sanding was completed, stain was applied. To complete the project, multiple coats of polyurethane were applied. This plaque was made as a departing gift for a U.S. Army basic training commander. It was engraved on a CNC machine. "This will defend" is the Army's motto. The plaque itself is a representation of the U.S. Army Drill Sergeant's badge. To complete the project, it was painted and then polyurethane was applied.